Niagara Falls, Canada.
The most visited?
Well, it's one of the wonder of the world.
True.
I don't know, 7 or 8 wonder of the world
Who
now.
knows?
But there's a running joke all the time for everyone who lives in Toronto. When you have friends or family coming over, where do you take them? So it's not too far away from Toronto, so you can drive there. It's about an hour and a half.
2 hours, depending on traffic.
Either you can rent a car or you can actually take the bus or train. It takes about 2 hours to get there.
Yeah.
But of course, it makes more sense if you're in the downtown area because that's where it's going to be leaving from. But when you're from the outskirts, just to get to downtown, it's not worth it at all.
It's going to take you at least like good 45 minutes, if not more.
And since there are 4 of us, it's actually not going to be a cheaper option.
There are 2 attractions on the way, in our opinion, worth seeing. One or the other, or both if you have time.
Yeah, it's to build up the dramatic sense as well. So there's the whirlpool,
Yes.
and then the other one is the whitewater walk.
Yes.
So we chose the whitewater walk. It's beautiful. It's really nice. You see the rapids.
Oh, it's very mesmerizing, and if you've never seen that kind of power of water, it's really amazing.
A lot of great photo ops.
I only wish there was like more spaces there for you to, I don't know, maybe sit down and have a sandwich or something, because the walk itself is quite short there.
Yeah, and there's just one elevator that goes up and down, and it's a small one, and you have to go through this shop.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the lineup is going to be quite long there.
Yeah.
Either for the whirlpool or the whitewater walk, they're about $20 each for a ticket for adults. But we didn't choose the whirlpool because it's just a cable car that goes over the whirlpool and come back, so it seems so short. However, you can actually go there, and the area where you purchase the ticket, there is this viewpoint where you can actually see it, and then decide if you want to go ahead and
purchase a ticket or just keep on your way.
So once you get into the Niagara Falls area, finding parking is not going to be the most fun.
Oh no, it's never easy. Even like on the shoulder season, it's never easy.
Yeah, so we park at where we were staying and we walk from there.
Yeah.
Once we get there, the view, it's great.
Before you get there and get the view, you can hear it.
Yeah, yeah. So we've been to the boat ride that goes close to the fall a few times already. Back then it was called Made of the Mist, and I think we went to one of the last ride to
Last year's, yeah,
For
that
the
it
Maid
was
of the
still
Mist.
operational.
Still there, just operated by a different company. When you're getting the ticket, you can always go through the line and buy it from the box, or you can turn around and basically just buy it on using your credit card, and that's way faster. But one thing that we didn't know is you can go all the way down to where they embark, and it's a beautiful, nice terrace with
Beer garden
and
snacks and things like that. It's really nice. So if you're in a larger group and not everybody's going, everybody still can go through. Just everybody won't board, but you can wait for your people to come back.
So the other way to get down there is through the funicular.
Yes.
So it's a short one. It's not a cheap one. I'll put it down here how much it costs. And
I don't think it's worth it.
No, and I thought that was the only way. But no, like we said before, you could easily follow
Just
the
go
crowd.
through.
So we go down this path in the elevator all the way to the tent where they check your ticket. But before that, it's fine. So we were just sitting They're waiting for
My
mom.
parents to come back, yeah.
Yeah, so they're putting on their pink poncho.
Yes. Don't bring anything that you wish not to get wet, and best also have a second pair of shoes because you will get wet no matter what.
Oh yeah, no way of avoiding it. Even with the poncho,
Oh yes.
yeah, you'll still get wet.
You'll get all the wind and the breeze, and it will be the poncho will be flying everywhere, so you will be wet.
Yeah, but this is an attraction where I would say do not skip it. Right? However, if you're very sensitive to boat ride, you know, the wave brings you up and down. It's not that way.
It's not, because I usually have some kind of seasickness. I'm not very sensitive to seasickness, but I do have some. That really does not trigger my seasickness. But if you're not into it, there are other options to still see the falls quite up close
Yes.
and personal.
Which I recommend is Journey Behind the Fall. It will take you right next to the fall itself.
As
It
close as you can get to the big one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's closer than the boat or just about the same, but you get an angle that you can't see from the boat.
Yes.
Because you can see the water falling right on the rocks, and it was beautiful.
It is. The basic things you should do in Niagara is the boat right to the fall and Journey Behind the Falls. If you don't want to do one for whatever reason, do the other one for sure. Well, her hair is definitely wet.
Got wet?
Super.
So she's like, it's so wet, like you would jump into water, and she's like, just a few drops.
Did you get to see the fall up close? Or was it just nothing but mist?
Wodę jak leci. To znaczy, pod pewnym kątem, jak on tam zaczął zawracać, nie? To te głazy wielkie było widać.
So once it was turning around, you could see the rocks, the big boulders.
Super. Mnie się bardzo podobało.
Bardzo dobra na mokre,
Szkoda, że tak krótko.
na gorący dzień bardzo dobra.
It's perfect for a hot day. Lany poniedziałek.
Other than the falls, Niagara Falls is the Vegas of Canada, but I guess it's the closest that we would get for the entertainment part of it. Number one, the casino. So yes, Niagara is known for having casinos. And the live shows as well. So they have big singers, dancers, but we weren't interested in any of the shows. But the other thing is Clifton Hill. So that's where everything is going on. You got the restaurants, you got the arcade, you can do mini putts and all those other stuff.
Yeah, you have all the attractions, all the cute shops with sweets, fudge, and whatnot. There's quite a few attractions, so if you have kids, you will not be bored.
If you want to have a better view of the falls from up above, they have the sky wheel, around $15 per person to go up there. We didn't choose to go there because
The two of us, we've been there, and it's not worth it.
when it's hot, it's a hot box.
Yes.
And the window, they're not the best.
A lot of scratches. I don't think it's glass. I think it's probably like
Ye-
plexiglass.
yeah, plexiglass, so plastic
Once
glass.
it scratches, it's pretty scratched. I think better view, if you want a view from the top, would be Skylon Tower.
So again, we've been up in Skylon Tower, so we send mom and dad up there by themselves. Well, they like it.
Yeah.
It was a very nice view. It is much higher than the sky wheel for sure. The vantage point is going to be a little bit different. But I think you can enjoy a quarter of the 360 view of it.
Oh yes.
Just you get to see the American side of the fall, you get the horseshoe, you get the bridges, you got a little bit of the casino and the hotel area. But once you go to the back side of it, it's nothing but parking lots and streets. Not a great view at all.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of high buildings
In
in
Niagara.
Niagara Falls,
Yeah.
so it's not going to be the best view. But you can see on the video what kind of view you'll get, so see if that's worth it.
And if you're just a couple going into Niagara, you could maybe enjoy a nice dinner with a view to Niagara Falls.
Yeah, so there
It's
is
not
a
cheap?
few restaurants where you can have a view, but you better reserve ahead in order to get that view. We went up there a few years ago without any reservation, and we couldn't see anything where we were sitting from. A lot of people just go to Niagara Falls for the day and then come back, but there's a lot of things to do in there. I would recommend at least
One overnight.
one overnight, because the nightlife there is something else. So I would recommend to stay there for the evening, because yeah, that Clifton Hill area with all the lights, much nicer. To have a lot of patio and places where you can enjoy food and beer. So we went back to the same microbrewery that we went to a few times ago. This microbrewery have a paddle of different kind of beers you can.
What was it, 4 or 5 different types of beer for tasting, which is, it's good for them to offer that, because then you can sit and enjoy some of them at least. That was the face after one of the beers.
They're not the best. And guess what? We're talking to the waiter and he was agreeing. I'm sorry. But it was fun. It's a place where we relax and,
And they have live music usually there.
Yeah, it's a nice place so you can, I would say, unwind, drink, just relax and have fun. We were there because we were waiting until the sun goes down and it's quite dark, because they project light onto the falls themselves and it looks beautiful.
That's another reason why you may want to stay till later in the day or maybe overnight, because in the summer, as you know, the day is quite long, so you have to wait till like 9 p.m. to get the dusk and have the full view of the light show on the Niagara Falls. I think it is worth staying for that, even for 10 minutes to witness it. I think it's worth it. Then you can pack yourself into the car and go back. If you don't mind traveling after dark.
But you know what? Even just going through the falls, the boat ride behind the falls, going to Clifton Hill, that's a lot of things to do.
You'll be tired.
So you'll be tired. So most likely after that night, you want to go ahead and rest, and because there's a lot of other activities. I mean, you can skip all those non-fall related attractions, but I think for Niagara region, one thing that you shouldn't skip is the winery.
Oh yes.
The winery tour, there is big commercial ones and there are smaller mom and pop places. There's a few tours that takes into multiple places and they'll pick you up in your hotel and takes you around in buses. You get through a few of the winery
Usually
places.
I think it's 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then take you back. But those tickets can get really pricey.
Well, if you have no other means or you want everything kind of done for you, you can do it that way.
At least pick 1 or 2. However, try to book if you can. The bigger ones,
It's not a big problem. You may need to wait for another tour if the one when you arrive is full, but they usually take them every half hour, every hour, the bigger ones.
Yeah.
The smaller ones, you also have to kind of weigh in what time of the week you're going, because they may actually be closed. Maybe during the summer they may be open, because we were just before the summer, so the school is still in, like it's not the high season yet, so they may be open during the high season.
yeah, so our options were limited.
Yes.
So we went to the big one and
Don't regret.
It was fantastic. There's only us, so
The upside of the down season.
we basically got a private tour of
Yeah.
it. During the tour, of course, it includes wine tasting. She was a little bit heavy pourer, so can't complain. But you get to learn a lot about how it's being done. All, if not type of wine grapes, comes from Europe, from Italy, France, the area. So all of them that comes to North America, like Niagara or even California, they don't grow from the ground up. They actually grafted into North American variety because of the pest, I guess.
Yes.
And the disease and everything else. So it's very interesting. There's a lot to learn. It's a fun experience. They of course take you at the end to the shops because that's where they make their money. But there's a lot of things in those shops that is not available in retail around the country.
Even the wine itself, the ones that you would find here in the retail is not exactly the same as what they sell in the shops in the winery.
But the one that tastes amazing and what I think Niagara or Canadian wines are famous for is the ice wine. And this is not for everyone. Even for me, I like it, but I can take maximum 3-4 sips and it'll be good because it's very, very sweet.
Ice wine is very unique wine. If you've never had one, I think it's worth testing it out.
Yeah.
And we're better placed than in a vineyard.
But the last thing that a lot of people visit is Niagara-on-the-Lake. Niagara-on-the-Lake is a small town vibe.
It's not a vibe, it is.
It's a main street strip with a lot of shops, restaurants, and you have that.
Very small town, quaint town places where you have those colonial houses, that, like nicely upkept fronts. It's very picturesque.
Yeah, there's a lot of gift shops for sure. So you
All
can
sorts
get,
of gifts.
Yeah.
Oh yes, they did have those, but I think that's almost like mandatory in those very high
I
volume
guess.
tourist places.
Yeah. Don't get us wrong. It is a tourist trap. It's a tourist area, but it's a little bit different than your usual big city kind of places. And right next to it is a nice quiet park where you can enjoy the lake, but if you want to enjoy the view, and if you squint really
If weather is good.
and weather is good, you can see the skyline of Toronto. I don't know if you got a picture of it, but that's what you'll see. I mean, it is on the other side of the lake, and it's Ontario Lake. It's it's one of the great lakes in North America. So
Yes.
it's a nice way to enjoy the view.
Have your lunch before you head back to Toronto. That was our trip.
To Niagara Falls, but since kids' parents are here, we're gonna take them to more adventure.
Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for
A road trip to Quebec, Montreal, and Ottawa. See you soon.
bye.
This is not made for me.